Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Pronago here, bringing you a 2 versus 2 cast for a little bit of a change here, and I want to introduce our homies, our players, see what's going on. And we do indeed have an overabundance of Protoss. Can you believe that? We got Darky here in the top left. He is our Ultramarine Protoss. And in the bottom left, we have ASX-32, our red, no, it's blood, Terran. Sosij on the top right here, as part of our second team, is going to be our eggshell blue Protoss, aligned with Mr. Pizzaballa, who I'm pretty sure is Ultra 7, and of course is playing Protoss here as the Periwinkle, deep Periwinkle in fact. Sosij moving across the map with a pretty quick scout, and also they started talking about something spawning in front of them. I don't know what that is. Maybe he means like horizontal or whatever. Unless they're playing a game mode, that was not attached to the replay info, but I will add it to our overlay if I discover that a game mode is being played. Hope you guys are having a good start to the year. I'm having a good start to the year. I get to cast 2v2. This was actually played a little bit in the sort of tail end of the last year. So if I go back to the date, it was at the 25th. It was a Christmas day. This is a Christmas present, and I'm only now getting to it. Such is the splendor that I find myself with. We got ASX here, one of the longtime homies who mostly just shows up for casual games, team games, FFAs, that sort of thing. Cool guy, though. Appreciate him. And he is going to be playing some bio-oriented Terran, while Darky, another newcomer, actually one of Ultra 7's homies, has finally decided to play Protoss instead of playing as Terran. I'm not really sure why he was ever playing as Terran. Also, this map is Fields of Cernunnos, and as you can see, this ramp is bugged. Don't worry, Ultra 7, you don't need to see up the ramp. That's an easy enough fix, but something that Shambler hasn't gotten around to doing yet. At least as far as I know. Vestry add-on all in the way. Oh, this is, since this is back in Christmas, this is before, like, Shaman stacks no longer healed, or back when Shaman stacks healed, I guess. That's the way to say that correctly. No surprises to me that we've got Sosij going for embassies into artisans, but I do want to point out that it could be a potential problem for him later on if, you know, he's, when you're in a situation where you're relying on your teammate to build up enough military in a 2v2, I feel like that kind of thing can be a problem in the long run. Long enough time scale, you could run into some issues with that. We'll see if he does, because Sosij is the highest skilled player in this lobby, but sometimes you can play a little bit lower level, you can get teamed up on by your other homies, that sort of stuff. So we'll have to see how it goes. But his first artisan's already harvesting from the Vespine Geyser just north of the Nexus. Something that I feel like if this map was ever revisited, you'd probably see this geyser get removed or moved around or whatever, because providing it to Protoss, sure, they can use it. Zerg can't use it and can't really control or contest it. So how do you deal with that? You know what I mean? I don't know what Darky Scribe is doing up there, but he'll figure it out. I guess he just wants to expand. The intended natural is here, but no dice there, apparently. Ministry under construction for ASX, and Ultra 7 is, presumably Ultra 7 is moving out. I did open up a call for like, hey, who is this guy? And asked Ultra 7 specifically, because I know he's a homie who participates in these sorts of games, specifically with Darky. Where if I see a lobby with Darky, I assume Ultra 7's also in the lobby, you know? And Shambler is spectating, so there you go. I was going to check to see if it was anybody else. Yeah, we'll have to see how it goes. Cyprian's on the way. Looks like ASX is going to be bringing out the big guns. Hit him up proving that Bio can beat Protoss in a recent weekend wage. Classic move. Random Sosij Zealot has decided to scout around and seems pretty interested in following where these Striders are going. The double treasury is kind of cute. I wonder if, wouldn't it be kind of amazing if somebody put a neutral Omniveil in a place? That could be kind of nice. Also, I think a temple would fit here really nicely as well. That's another resource depot, neutral resource depot. So anyway, the Striders from Darky are indeed going to come in here and try to shut down the harvesting, which is pretty nice. Good move there. However, they can only reach one set of the harvesters, right? They got all these guys over here that they can't actually touch. That being said, Darky is building a Stargate somewhere. Oh yeah, all the way over here off to the side. Pretty hard to scout that. Little pocket base here. Ultra 7 has an Ardent Authority. Finally, Sosij's Zealot Scout will be harangued by a bunch of random Striders. Nope. They decided to make peace with him. Sosij does not return the favor, however. At the very least, Darky is building enough units that he wouldn't get run over, per se, but Ultra 7's got a number of gateways as well. Looks like ASX has the biggest float of the lobby right now with 1,000+ minerals. Witnesses from Ultra 7 spotting every which way. He's actually got a lot of float, right? But he's only harvesting his 1 mason on the ridge, only harvesting 0 masons in the natural gas. So there you go. Cute little spot to park the shaman. I once theorized a long time ago that, like, if you end up going for something like shaman with... in the same way that Apostle helps, it helped a little bit more before reclaimed units had cut movement speed, but Apostles can, like, help be anti-worker raid, right? Shamans can also do that. So to see this guy here, not quite deployed, but eventually will be providing that necessary combat support if, like, worker raid happened or whatever. A lot of artisans are being made, though. Sosij has the highest worker count of the lobby. Any surprise? Not really. Going for a single Argosy to start leveraging his tech, and meanwhile, ASX just poking around, looking for a way to spend his money. He's down almost 0 APM there for a moment. Sometimes you just got AFK, dude. If he deployed the Shaman, he would at least kill this Witness, but he hasn't thought about it. Sosij sending his own Witnesses out. I mean, one rotation of his 4 embassies making Witnesses, and he'd have pretty good map vision, so kind of showcasing that as his Argosy finishes up, and he adds some static defense to his main base. More artisans pouring forth, and likely to garrison this top right base. Yeah, you could tell that Darky was planning on countering this. He's got all these land effects, but he's only building them off of 1 Stargate, and he's not bothering to actually attack early. So, yeah, kind of a rough spot and a problematic situation for our left side team. Pretty low action game, all things considered. People like to get, excited about 2v2s. So they send me the 2v2 replays. But they don't make sure to check that they're interesting first. Maybe something interesting happens later on in the game. A couple extra gateways being added for Sosij. We will see the Didact. That is actually kind of interesting. We don't see the Didact very often. Finally capping his gas is ASX, realizing that he's a little bit starved of it with 2,000 minerals almost. Yeah, I'm starting to realize ASX did ask me at one point, like, are we ever going to get a reasonable campaign? Because, speaking of difficulty, and I can kind of see why somebody with 1,500 minerals in the tank, Darky in the same position, but hasn't been for most of the game. I can kind of see why he would have some troubles there, I get it. Not everybody wants to play Gosu. By the way, no harvesting off of the ridge here for Ultra 7 on the natural. So far, everything I'm seeing from Mr. Pizzaballa does actually check out for it being Ultra 7. So let's see what he can do with this drop. Get ready for all of his APM to be over here. Trying to get rid of some of those Masons. Pretty good retreat timing, actually, considering everything else I was expecting for ASX. He's going to lose everything there, but I wasn't expecting him to pull them away at all, so that's pretty cool. Now here come the land effects trying to get rid of all of the artisans. So many of them have not actually evacuated. And honestly, this is a lot of workers that are going to go down. If he just decides to sick on these guys, dude, there's... You might see this worker count plummet, and, it's a lot of S being used, but he still hasn't figured it out quite. Oh, my God! Ultra 7 has massacred the workers. The artisans are trying to fight, but, well, I guess if you get right on top of them, maybe. Problem is, every worker on Darky's side is also going down, so it almost doesn't matter. Oh, that's dirty, Sosij. I didn't even remember to fix that bug. The tracking stasis field. It's supposed to use the position of when you targeted it, not the unit itself. Man, Arba's probably reported that bug like 30 times, and I just never remembered to fix it. To the point where he probably thinks it's an intended feature right now. Well, Worker Massacre is pretty neat, at the very least. Finally, the massacre onto the West team is going to be resolved. Darky down to 19 workers, has gotten back up to 20. Making more land effects, knowing that he definitely has more to deal with. 4,000 minerals for Mr. Pizzaballa, by the way. Yeah, like I said, Ultra 7, that entire time we were watching, the drop go down, almost 0 macro is just building stuff. Or just not building stuff, just killing stuff. Now he's going to go ahead and cap that Vespine Ridge I mentioned earlier. Still got plenty of artisans, but you got to be on watch now. You spend all this money, and all you got for it was a Didact. Well, let's see what he can do. By the way, the recall is going to come on in here. There are 2 Cyprians and an Anchor. It looks like it'll just barely be able to get off. Anseal comes in to try to detect. It's a little bit too late to get rid of that witness. Magister, Empyrean, a couple of Dracodons. It's a tricky play. We got some Striders coming in from Darky on the top side. Pretty soon this Didact will end up running out of energy. Planifex trying to help out. They're up against an Empyrean of all things, but the Striders are helping quite a bit, actually. And now Sosij is going to come in from the east. This Empyrean is still going, and nobody is targeting it. Finally, it'll be cut down by Cyprian fire from down south, and there it is. A stasis goes up, but it's only on 3 bio units. And it looks like the Striders of Darky mixed with the bio of ASX is going to be enough to deal with this, unless Mr. Pizzaballa has something to say about it. Ultra 7 trying to push in. I like the idea for his positrons, but he just didn't have enough sort of chaff to deal with that. And now ASX feels like he can push forward for even greater glory. A couple of his Iraqans will get a little bit ambitious there. We do indeed have that Atlas complete. We'll have to see whether or not ASX does much with it. Honestly, they feel very powerful, and the defenses here are very minimal. I think they could probably combine. Oh my god. That's not cowardly, that's just stupid. A Solarian wandering right into the middle of the meat grinder there. Yeah, not Sosij's finest hour, but I guess he does have 76 workers, so maybe he can afford it. Gas caps down here in the bottom right. Mr. Pizzaballa knows he needs to get some more Vespine so he can spend down his stuff. 3 more Argosies. Sosij really trying to spend down his resources. His Strider army is mostly still intact, so as long as he can keep that as like a force multiplication for his Argosies, which are they going to waypoint right into the Terran army again? Like, is Sosij really not paying attention to that? What the hell? Yeah, the rally is still there. Okay, it finally gets corrected. And he's going to go ahead and pull back on his Empyreans. So, saved, boys. Saved. We didn't have to watch another execution. Pretty wild scenes. Apostle are on the way. Okay, so we are going to get those 2 extra captaincies. Valkyries coming. I love it. It doesn't have any utility here, but I love it. And the wind is still spying on 12 o'clock. Some artisans heading on in that direction as the Striders keep canvassing the area. This is the Sosij special. Shambler did this for a little bit, but he fell off of it. Sosij has never really given up as soon as he started. Occasionally, he just won't build Nexuses. It really was Shambler who popularized it, in my opinion, but I don't even know if Sosij saw those games. He might have just come to the same conclusion on his own. Trying to dog the Terran army with the Witness, just see what's going on here, and the Anseals will provide active detection without the Shamans needing to deploy. Cestus on the way for extra armor and all of that. Static detection as well, for that matter. What are we going to see? When are we going to see some more bases? Yeah, that's what I was wondering. ASX moving down to the bottom with some Masons to construct, and we already have Ultra 7 doing the same thing. So kind of stretching his legs up here. Darky realizing that the Artisan Flock was never actually put down, so the land effects are going to go in that direction, and we got Solarians coming for Darky as well. Synthetic Synod on the way as Tier 4 begins to be actuated. Meanwhile, a Vibrance begins its construction. The land effects arrive, and they will be harangued by the Striders almost immediately. And look, the Solarians arrive as well, but it's kind of a problem to go up against Empyreans and the Striders. Oh, the Hierophant, this late in the game, finding huge impact and tagging multiple Solarians. That's both of them likely to go down. Sosij doesn't want to press the issue, however. On my way, he says, because ASX is pushing in. There was that one Vibrance. I don't know where. Okay, it's flying off the handle over there, off to the top. Now, this is an opportunity where Darky needs to really strike while the iron is hot, because the air fleet is going to be able to deal with this Terran mech, or Terran bio. There are some Heracles on the field, but you still count them as bio. Okay, he's going to go back up 12 o'clock to clear out all of those. I wonder if maybe he wouldn't be better, more helpful actually fighting the main army. ASX built quite a powerful contingent here, but it will start to dematerialize. At the very least, the Striders and the Solarian are going to be able to put down all of these artisans, and maybe, just maybe, ASX can hold. Valkyrie arrives. It's a brave soul. It's a brave attempt, but barely scratches the paint job on the shields. Yes, you paint the shields. Meanwhile, Ultra 7 looks like he might be sizing up an option to go on a harassment campaign. The Cyprians are actually beating back the Draconids. It's just that there's 8 Empyreans now, a critical mass that is really quite difficult to deal with conventional bio. Here come some Striders. A Vibrance is accompanying them. Darky's attack force with the Striders is also coming in to disrupt the mining operation. Remember, we did see that Solarians did exist, but are they coming in to help? Yes, they are. Fit with some Empyreans. They have to deal with the land effects first, and they are taking a bit of a longer time than you'd think because the stewards are absorbing some of the shots, so the Empyreans are struggling. It feels like one of those critical mass points where if you don't have enough Empyreans to shoot down the stewards, all of your missiles are going to be taken care of. Draconins maybe will be able to assist. These biotic bastions can be blown up later on into the game to add more firepower and maneuverability, but it doesn't look like that's something that the East team cares about right now. However, we are going to see Cyprians destroy an Empyrean. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Now here comes a big attack force over here. Well, sizable in terms of resource cost anyway. We do have some Zealots as well that could link up with it to make it truly big. Solarians arriving to help support ASX's position. I'm glad we're getting to see some cooperation between the players. That's pretty fun. And look at this. He slips in, trying to get past the firing line. Unfortunately for Ultra 7, though, there is an Anseal here for detection. I don't think you're going to be getting very far, my friend. Well, the Vibrance does start recharging its own shields. It's in a great spot to do so, and there's no stim and there's no madcaps over there. They're actually falling back, so scratch what I said. A couple of bio units over here are not going to be enough to defend this spot. However, we have Demiurges as well as Solarians. They are pushing forward. They are forcing the issue. A Hierophant tagging that Empyrean as well, allowing some of those to get caught on the way back. Ultra 7 might need to help him out, but all he's got is Zealots and Ecclesiasts. Spoiler, they ain't gonna do enough. Demiurge could get in close and try to steal some of those Empyreans. It doesn't look like it's a possibility. Finally, Ultra 7 will be stopped in his worker massacre. He refuses to relent. It's just non-stop worker deaths here on Fields of Cernunnos. As the last of the Empyreans falls, Ultra 7's base is now going to be in danger. And he just keeps sending attack forces out to the other side, but that's because he doesn't have the actual capacity to fight back. He might be able to snipe this Demiurge. That's a real possibility. Some of the Ecclesiasts will be stolen over to worship, and that might sustain the Demiurge for the time being, but instead he actually retreats out. And yeah, he's going to lose it to Zealots, boys. At least they were able to rid the world of a demon in the process of their demise. Their lives were not quite for naught. So the Solarian stack is only 5 strong. We are seeing Epigraphs be added, Empyreans be added. That the guaranteed damage from the Epigraph will help to deal with the Solarians. A couple of the units returned from their offensive campaigns. Ultra 7 only able to escort the Solarians away. Epigraph's trying to be in hot pursuit here. Yeah, I think Darky's going to need to turn and fight here. He doesn't have great reinforcement capacity, and they are going to start getting tagged up. You can see how good the Epigraphs are compared to how the rest of the army was. So it looks like he's just going to cede that one Solarian, and that's it. Let him have that one. But look, ASX has an army again. Well, sort of. Not as strong as it once was. Hasn't rebuilt his economy either. Looks like he's in the process of doing so in the bottom left. A well-played game, relatively speaking. He's going to go after these frontliners, but they're taking way too long to get killed, get cleared. And again, ASX pushing in, thinking his ally is going to come in and help, but that did not happen. All of the air units from the Sky Toss player over here in the top are just still off in their own little wonderland, not contributing to the fight. And on the one hand, you can be like, hey man, why didn't you help me? But on the other hand, you can be like, hey man, why didn't I look at my minimap? You know, it's a bit of a difficult journey there. Yet it's funny because I think you can pretty clearly see Sosij has gone for a bit of a weird, cheesy strategy, and it hasn't exactly worked out for him. But what has worked out is that cooperation between him and Pizza Balla, him and Ultra 7. I think maybe that's why he's Pizza Balla. He's like, I'm gonna be a meatball pizza, and you can be the sausage pizza. I guess that's what he's saying. A couple of the artisans will be gunned down again. Here comes the whole hit squad from... Oh my god. The move order is always a funny one. The whole hit squad from Sosij here to try and deal with that. I don't think that... Oh, yeah. Oh my god. I don't think Darky's getting out of this one, man. And it looks like that might actually be the killing blow. You think about it, ASX lost his whole army earlier, and now the same thing is going to happen to all of what Darky had. It's just a total wipe, a total rout. Meanwhile, a huge force, even though there's a Tensender here, all the mech and gateway units are coming in. Another stasis onto those Solarians that tried to evacuate, and the Demiurges will go down without any resistance. So, at this point, you're trying to run around and scamper away and save bases. This force could potentially be dealt with, but not by ASX's army. And of course, we already just saw Darky can hold a candle to what Sosij is kicking up. No stim pack on these Mavericks, so their DPS definitely cut down. The Apostles trying to keep things alive where possible. But even without any targeting or micro, there's no opportunity for those Apostles to do what they really needed to do, which is have an infinite supply of chaff. They just go down too quick. Nexus down as well. The East team is just about ready to wrap this one up. ASX back to building clerics for his madcaps and his apostles, of which he has 6 in total. There just ain't enough here. Even a manner stasis on the scribes. It's not really manner, I guess. It's just there to cast the ability. You know what I mean? Immediately nukes down the Demiurge as it pops out. The Solarian will be next, and that will have to be game. I don't see any way back here. You need some wild Reclaimer magic that just isn't mathematically possible. Oh, that was actually, you know, at the end of the day, I think the 2v2 did indeed redeem itself. It was a little bit low activity in the beginning. You know, I got to take the opportunities to podcast when I can. That's just how it is sometimes. But I hope you guys appreciated a look at the team play that can be present within Cosmonarchy. I feel like it's something we just don't see that often, but something that I am very, very pleased with. So as we continue to improve the game and add more stuff, including more races, and fix up all sorts of bugs and such, that's going to wrap this game up, but I am looking forward to seeing more of these 2v2s in the future. So that's what I can say about that. Typing got me off guard. We are going to be having a wonderful time going forward, so join us. Subscribe, maybe pop over to our Discord server, link in the description. You'll also find ways to support the project financially if you choose to do so, and I appreciate you. GG.